Hello, everyone, and welcome to the introductory lecture on Reimagining Plato. This course comes with an accompanying book, which I had the privilege of writing with Dr. Diepenbroek, a classics and ancient history research fellow at Johannesburg University. We will have Plato, of course, Socrates with a bit of an aggressive stare, Socrates, the orator, and as you will see, the advocate for games of chance, and finally Sophia, embodied with the collective wisdom of philosophy from Plato's time to a perception of time that you are experiencing right at this moment. Think about the speed at which you are experiencing the illusion. Can you use this as a benchmark to measure the passage of thought? It's probably deep, reflective thought, the kind of thought that philosophers, mathematicians mostly, engage in. If it's too perplexing, turns your brain into mush, then move on. For those of you who are not familiar with a prompt outline, the idea is simple. Your writing style resembles that of an aphorism, with the intended audience being a large language model. The reason for writing prompts is because you will be assigning these prompts codes, and then using the Gadfly app, you will be able to recall this structure at a capacity that very quickly will surpass your current powers of recollection. For all you Platonic scholars out there, I realize that as a lecturer, I may not be ideal, especially with my use of AI models. But if you can hold on until at least lecture 8, I will introduce you to the following novel ideas: a conciliant definition of immortality, the world of ideas and imagination mixed with felt experience, a few technology skills to help you with your research, and a unifying theory of aesthetics. For those of you out there who don't consider yourselves academics, I am speaking to you all like we are all on the same level. After all, when it comes time to understand another person's perspective, thought process, and contributions to philosophy, the contributions of Plato's dialogues are, like this course, perennial. One more thing I would like to cover in this introductory lecture. If you haven't received your Astraguli calculator for the games of chance, you will need it to modify the course, in particular the dialogues.
Go to planksip.me/Astraguli or scan the following QR code for your copy of the Astraguli calculator needed for this course.
The four-sided knucklebone was nothing other than the 8-20 rule. I have some fun with this in the animations, correlating the 16 points of the Son of Macedon with the Venus throws while playing games of chance. The dice are weighted in favor of temperance at 40% and courage also at 40%. I wanted to provide students with more opportunities to apply Plato's teachings in their lives. Although justice and knowledge should be imagined and enacted in a harmonious ratio, we all start this course with a depth of justice and knowledge that leaves courage and temperance worthy of some extra examination.
As I see it, Plato's vision is not merely about individual ethics or personal virtue, but the collective striving toward a higher good. This higher good, which Plato often frames in terms of the good itself, is the ultimate end, the telos that gives meaning to all other ends. It's the ideal that beckons us, shapes our choices, and harmonizes our desires with the community's needs in the best of circumstances. But here's where the tension lies, between the lofty aspirations of an eternal ideal and the messy, often contradictory reality of human existence. Plato repeatedly confronts us with this tension through his dialogues, whether in the Republic, where he sketches the blueprint of a just society, or in the Phaedrus, where he explores the complexities of love and the soul. Plato constantly navigates between the ideal and the real. The question then becomes, how do we reconcile these two realms? How do we live in a way that honors the ideals we imagine while fully engaging with the world as it is? Is it possible to construct a life or a society that embodies the virtues we hold most dear, or are we forever doomed to fall short of the mark? In modern terms, we might see this as a conflict between idealism and pragmatism. The idealist within us dreams of a world where justice, beauty, and truth reign supreme, while the pragmatist recognizes the need to navigate a world that is often unjust, ugly, and deceptive. Yet Plato would argue that these are not mutually exclusive. They are two sides of the same coin. The ideal gives us direction, a sense of purpose and meaning. It drives progress, inspires greatness, and fuels the quest for knowledge. Without ideals, we risk losing sight of what makes life worth living. But the real experience is where these ideals are tested, where they either prove their worth or reveal their limitations. This brings us back to the stakes. If we are to create an ethical system that truly guides us toward the best possible life, It must balance these two dimensions. It must recognize the importance of ideals while remaining firmly rooted in the realities of human existence. It must inspire us to reach for the stars while keeping our feet planted. In Plato's time, this was perhaps most vividly expressed in the figure of the philosopher king, a ruler who embodies wisdom and justice and leads the polis according to the principles of the good. Today, we might not aspire to the philosopher king in quite the same way. Still, the underlying principle remains. Whether personal or societal, leadership requires a deep commitment to ethical ideals, tempered by a clear-eyed understanding of the world. So, as we explore these themes throughout this course, I encourage you to think critically about your ideals. What do you hold as the highest good? How do your actions, decisions, and relationships reflect these ideals? How do you navigate the inevitable conflicts that arise when ideals collide with reality? These are not easy questions, and they do not have simple answers, but they are, I believe, the questions that define a life worth living. By engaging with Plato and reimagining his ideas in our own lives, we can understand the world more deeply and shape it in ways that bring us closer to the ideal. Ultimately, whether we lean toward lengthy teleologies that span generations or embrace a cause and effect view of the world, the goal remains to live a true life to the best of our capabilities. And that, I would argue, is a story worth telling, one we can all contribute to writing with Plato as our guide.
And now, a post-dialogue dramatization between Plato, Socrates, Socrates, and Sophia on Euthyphro.
In Euthyphro, you claim to understand what is pious and impious. How do you think your core consciousness, which integrates your sense of self with the external world, influences your perception of divine justice? Could it be that what you perceive as piety is more of a somatic response shaped by your internal representations rather than an objective truth?
Sophia, you arrive at an opportune moment. We were deep in discussion about the nature of piety, provoked by our encounter with Euthyphro. What are your thoughts on how piety fits within the broader spectrum of virtues?
Indeed, Sophia. Euthyphro's initial definition of piety, prosecuting his father, misses the mark of universality. As Socrates rightly observed, it's an example rather than a true definition that encapsulates the essence of piety.
Exactly, Plato. Piety should be more than just a singular action. It should mirror the inherent justice that informs all righteous actions. Euthyphro's reliance on specific instances rather than universal principles shows his lack of deeper understanding, similar to how he conflates divine favor with justice.
Sophia, you speak as if piety is but a subset of justice, a point Socrates has hinted at as well. But what of Euthyphro's claim that piety is simply what is loved by the gods? Doesn't this give it a distinct and elevated status?
Socrates, therein lies the dilemma. Is something pious because the gods love it, or do the gods love it because it is pious? Euthyphro's assertion that what all the gods love is pious crumbles under Socratic examination. If piety is contingent upon the gods' approval, it loses its claim to being an absolute virtue and becomes subject to divine whims, thus stripping it of its essential nature.
And this is precisely where Euthyphro falters. He cannot define piety that stands independently of divine favor. His definitions circle back on themselves, failing to isolate the essence of piety as distinct from other virtues like justice.
Socrates, your analogy of piety to even numbers in mathematics is fitting. Just as even numbers belong to a broader set, piety is part of the larger concept of justice. But unlike even numbers, which are clearly defined, piety must be understood as aligning with justice rather than merely complying with the gods' desires.
So, Sophia, you argue that piety reflects justice yet has a distinct focus on the divine. But if piety concerns looking after the gods, as Euthyphro suggests, doesn't this risk placing us in a position of hubris, as though we could somehow benefit the gods?
Indeed, Socrates, this is where Euthyphro's argument falls short. The notion that piety involves improving the gods is not only presumptuous, but fundamentally flawed. True piety, as Socrates implies, is about aligning our actions with the justice that transcends both human and divine favor. It's about serving the good, not merely performing rituals or offering sacrifices.
Thus, we see that Euthyphro's final attempt, defining piety as the art of sacrifice and prayer, reduces piety to a transaction between mortals and the divine. This diminishes piety's true essence, which should be an unconditioned alignment with the good rather than a mere exchange for favor.
Sophia, your insights remind us that the pursuit of piety, like all virtues, should not be about pleasing the gods, but cultivating the virtues that make us truly just. The law, nomos, is not merely an arbitrary decree, but a reflection of justice, to which piety must adhere if it is to be meaningful.
Precisely, Plato. We must remember that the true essence of piety is inseparable from justice. While the law serves as a guide, our understanding of piety should be guided by pursuing justice in its purest form, transcending the mere favor of the gods, and bringing us closer to the ideal of the good.
Then our task is clear. Refine our understanding of piety so that it truly reflects justice rather than mere ritual observance. In doing so, we honor the divine and the law, and most importantly, align ourselves with the good that transcends all.
A wise conclusion. Let us continue to seek definitions that bring us closer to the truth, always mindful that the good, and our pursuit of it, is at the heart of all virtues, including piety.
From here, you will be able to use technology to master the skill of recollection. You will have to experiment with heuristics and think about the utility of the structures you create. How will you leverage the power of recollection that this course will give you? The ideal plan on playing SIP is $101 per month and will get you the Gadfly app, which is now powered by Text Expander. If you use the code PLATO, you will get 50% off the ideal plan for 6 months. This will give you plenty of time to use all that my academy offers.
I realize that many people watching this video may not be members yet. Still, I am here to tell you that you will be part of a community of philosophers and get this perennial course, Reimagining Plato. This book includes commentary on Plato's dialogues and dialogues between Plato, Socrates, Isocrates, and Sophia. The course is designed to be a starting point for Platonic scholarship and give you the skills to think about the most rewarding of life's questions in an ideal way. Nietzsche thought Plato's work was decadent, and I think he is correct with that assessment. But oh, how it would be awe-inspiring to see more philosophers living in a decadent state of introspection and cultivating the virtues that make life worth living.